Welcome to this April 23rd Paducah Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. If you'll stand with me and we'll say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Josh, if you'll call the roll, please.
Mr. Benberry?
Here.
Mr. Bradford?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Vice Chair Schramke?
Here.
Mr. Shadle?
Here.
Mr. Wade?
Here.
Chair Casilius.
First of all, this is a public hearing this evening. We thank you for coming. I don't believe there's any old business, so our new business will start with the case of PUD 2018-019. And I believe, David?
I believe we have to approve the minutes first.
I'm pardon?
Of course,
we have to do the minutes first. Okay, let's review the minutes from the March 5th meeting. And do we have any corrections, or do the minutes stand as written?
So moved.
I have moved the minutes.
Okay.
Reading of the minutes of March 5th, 2018 be waived, and the minutes of said meeting is prepared by the Secretary be approved as written.
Second.
Second by Paul. Call the roll, please.
Mr. Benberry?
Aye.
Mr. Bradford?
Aye.
Mr. Morrison?
Aye.
Mr. Shadle?
Aye.
Mr. Wade?
Aye.
Vice Chair Schramke.
Aye. Okay, now we can get to David. I believe you have the first item of business.
Yes, ma'am. I move that this commission adopt a planned unit development for Phase 1 of LeBerry Farm to permit townhomes to be located no less than 20 foot from the LeBerry Lane right-of-way. I further move that this commission adopt the following standards for the planned unit development to facilitate an estate characteristic of the new development. 1, minimum of 2 trees per lot with shade trees on the south side and ornamental trees on the north side. 2, a brick wall would need to be installed along New Holt Road along the primary entrance on its own lot or easement for HOA maintenance purposes. 3, 2 subdivision identification signs will need to be located along the new roadway at New Holt Road. No subdivision signs will be permitted in the landscaped region. 4, a landscaped entrance median will need to extend from New Holt Road to be approved by the Planning and Engineering Departments. 5, LeBerry Lane would need a gentle curve in it to avoid a typical straight line subdivision layout. 6, 2 spruce trees would need to be planted behind the subdivision identification signs. 7, the area around the signs, landscape median, brick wall, and storm water detention can be labeled as a common area for the HOA to maintain. 8, a cul-de-sac will be needed at the ends of both streets. The cul-de-sac shall be constructed to city street standards. 9, place a traffic circle in LeBerry Lane at the stub street. 10, redesign the detention pond to be longer and narrower with fewer straight edges for better water quality and to attract fewer geese. Said detention pond shall be landscaped with trees.
Second.
Okay, I think we'll have discussion about this. If you'll notice, the staff report included a small picture of a plat, which was a little difficult to read, so Josh made some larger prints for us. So if anyone would like to look at that, I think that explains a lot. Could we hear from the developer and hear exactly what this is all about? Because from what I understand, these are zero lot line type things. It's a PUD development. So could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, that's basically correct. They are townhomes that would be connected with a lot line down the middle separating the 2 units. So there are 10 structures shown, but a total of 20 units. So yes, the That is correct. 0 lot line on the townhome part.
Okay. And this is phase one. There will be, hopefully, phase two will happen after this
Yeah,
at some
the
point.
property to the north there that on this plat we're calling future development, that is a piece of property that we recently annexed into the city, and that would be what we're calling phase two. Not sure the timing of when we'll submit that, but at some point, once this gets built out, we'll move forward with that portion.
And could you tell me about the entrance to this development? I mean, how will it be? How large will it be?
Well, honestly, we're kind of working with the city's guidelines. They've recommended some dimensions. I think maybe 20 to 30 foot long was mentioned. Honestly, the developer has, hey, they want it to be nice as well. So there are no issues with that whatsoever. We don't have an exact design in mind, but something similar to what you see, kind of an oval-shaped median down the middle that would be approximately 20 to 30 feet long, kind of making a nicer entry statement.
Well, the intent then is just to have the one entrance onto New Hope Road?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? Doesn't look like we have any.
The houses across the street, Josh, like St. Andrews and that street, are they aware? Are they giving a letter or something that we're doing this?
Yeah, the adjacent property owners across the street, behind and north-south was sent letters.
And you've heard no comments from any
No
of the
comments.
property owners? Okay, call the roll.
We have some,
Oh, I'm sorry, it is a public hearing. Did you wish to make any comment on this or questions?
She's with Joe.
oh, okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Still make a comment.
I don't know, they put hats on and looking like incognito to me.
Looks pretty quiet.
Mr. Morrison,
Aye.
Mr. Shadle,
Aye.
Mr. Wade,
Aye.
Mr. Benberry,
Aye.
Mr. Bradford,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schramke.
Aye. I believe, Mr. Wade, you have the next case.
Yes, I move that the preliminary subdivision plat for EMD Properties LLC be approved. Matter be continued generally pending submission of a final plat incorporating all requirements made known to the applicant at the conclusion of the hearing. Also, section 126 to 176 I-2 of the Paducah zoning ordinance. I further move that this commission adopt a resolution approving the preliminary development plat of the development known as LeBerry Farm.
Second.
The major difference between these two, if you'll notice on on page 3 of your staff report, 1740 is a lot by itself as of right now, which is shown in this black outline. That lot will be abolished on the final plat.
And new lot lines established within it? I
Yes.
assume?
Do we have any questions or comments? Call the roll.
Mr. Wade,
Aye.
Mr. Benberry,
Aye.
Mr. Bradford,
Aye.
Mr. Morrison,
Aye.
Mr. Shadle,
Aye.
Vice Chair Schramke.
Aye. Next item of business is we would like to discuss this board survey that we all received. And, the first question was, are we all supposed to fill it out, or just one person? Well, you know, the one I received had 3 questions on the front. I noticed John's has many more questions, so I didn't get one like that. Thank you. But I
Is this
think
something to do during the meeting or subsequent to adjournment?
I think that...
Ms. Shrimp, you can go ahead and explain your
I think we'd like
your thoughts.
to discuss it tonight. I don't think that we can actually take action on it tonight, because I think after some of the discussion, there's some things we're going to have to look into.
Okay.
So I think it's fair to discuss it in front of everyone as a public hearing. It's fine by me. I had a few concerns with it. One of the things that, you know, I have concern, and it's not just with this board, but with several boards, is when someone is appointed, they really have no background or no knowledge of what they're being appointed to, and unless they've done a lot of digging and a lot of research and whatever, but it's actually not a requirement. So I asked Josh about that. I said, so the way I see it is someone can be appointed to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and as soon as they're sworn in, they get to vote that night. And that's not comfortable to me. I think that there should be some sort of a procedure of training, some sort of something. And I asked Josh, what are the rules? How does it stand now? So Josh, could you tell us a little more about that?
Sure. The KRS provides that whenever a member is appointed to Board of Adjustment, Planning Commission, HARC, or anything like that, I believe it's 4 months that they have to get at least 4 hours of training in, is what state law provides. There's nothing in there, to my knowledge, that an appointee would have to have some kind of training prior to being appointed. It's just after the appointment, I think, is all the KRS speaks to. It's maybe something that I would have to ask Dan Key about. Obviously, he's not here tonight. But to maybe get some clarification on that, about how we do that, if we can do that, if that's something the board would like to look into.
How do y'all feel about that?
I agree. I think we need to have some training. I don't know whether sometimes we don't get it for a year, year and a half. And at that point, it's a moot point. You missed the point. Is there something that's provided by going on through the year? Now, we're on a different are we on the same calendar year as all the other P&Zs?
Yes, it's...
Okay, so there could be something for oncoming board members, new board members, if they could plan something almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
At least attend some meetings. I mean, something that we could create, if it's not already there, so they could see the functionality, the rules, whatever, before actually being a part of the voting commission.
I guess one small concern that I have is a matter of quorum.
Mm-hmm.
And let me throw this out there, like the Board of Adjustment, I just recently had an appointee, and as soon as he was appointed 2 weeks ago, I had to have a called meeting because I had an application outstanding from February. So I had to move fairly quick with that. That would be my only concern that I can think of. But as far as them attending Planning Commission meetings, as long as we have enough people, I think that's probably a great idea.
Do we have other input? I mean, am I messing with something here that's not a KRS requirement?
I think it's out of our control to some extent, since all of our positions are mayor appointed. So as far as when and how someone gets on the Planning Commission is not something that's within our ability to alter. We might be able to explore the possibility of amending our bylaws to say that, KRS requires this education requirement, but we as a local planning commission want to adopt a little more stricter rule and say that you have to get that education training within, 1 month or whatever. I don't know that we can do much more than that as far as I know, but again, it's a question for Dan Key on what we were able to do on that.
Which is one reason why I wanted it just to be a discussion this evening, because I don't really think we can finalize this until we have some thoughts like that, and, if it...
Does this training have to be under the auspices of the commission? I mean, the ruling body of the state, or can you have a workshop or something to get somebody on board early on?
It could be a workshop, yes. As long as the planning commission, you all as a body says, yes, such and such material matter is going to count toward their education credits, then you're allowed to do that.
You can do it in-house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or if you would like to make it as simple as you're required to attend 3 planning commission meetings, I think that maybe you could do that too. But I'd like to say, I don't know. I want to talk to Dan.
Or visit with you for an hour or something.
Yeah.
Something to where...
Initially, when I, made inquiry, this is what I was directed by the mayor at the time, to attend some of the meetings. And I attended the commissioners' meeting. First thing, I was very surprised at the audience, or lack thereof, including myself. I hadn't been very involved in some of these things. And so that was an eye-opener. And then got, at the time, Steve, and he was very open to share things, and I could just drop in at the office there, and he would share. But I'm kind of inquisitive that way anyway, and there's a lot to this. Some of these things are, quite extensive, and knowing for someone to get all that in a 4-hour training, that's kind of. But at least they'd be exposed to what's involved in it, what's expected.
Or you have the manual that you have to tell about, and as a source of reference. So you have to explain that.
Right, and that's kind of goes to question number 1 that I'd sent you all, that we do send them the zoning ordinance, and we send them the applicable KRS that they need to know about, which is basically all of Chapter 100 pretty much, but to kind of give them a running start. But that's what we internally provide.
I wrote down a tour of the planning department, though. I mean, it's just kind of, if you haven't toured the planning department, you're on the commission, it just seems like a duh.
Right.
Like there's something we ought to do. I know it takes time for you folks to be interrupted, but, there's benefits long-term.
It would be beneficial to see one from the beginning to the end, instead of just at the end.
Okay, well, quickly, let's go through some of these other ones, and I just want to take notes, and then the next time we meet, we can formalize this. You can come up with some answers from Dan for us.
Josh, let me ask you, were both sides printed on? The one that I had was on both sides, and yours was not. Is that correct? Okay. So I'm not included in this. I gave you mine.
We need another one.
You have another one?
I have one.
Well, we all have one, but.
Here's my,
Oh, you got here.
John, here's my honest answer. The secretary did it, so I do not know.
I figured.
Okay, so anyway, then,
turned it off the internet.
what education opportunities or topics would be helpful to current board members? Well, I think you all can make your suggestions there and see if there's anything that we need, if you'll jot that down for next time. What governs the boards? Kentucky revised statutes, ordinance, bylaws. How often does the board update its bylaws?
As needed.
Okay, but aren't we governed by?
KRS, all those,
We're
right?
governed by all 3.
All 3.
Yeah.
Actually.
That's what I mean. Mission statement. I never saw one. I don't think we have one.
Well, I think the introductory part of the ordinance would probably qualify.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay,
so how about printing that off for us?
okay.
Okay.
I can have that in you all's next package.
What was that?
Our accomplishments, well, we show up.
Well,
Pretty much have a quorum.
Yeah.
What we did last year.
What I'd sent out was we had 32
ordinance.
waivers of subdivisions, 4 zone changes, 4 waiver of parking requirement requests, 2 multiple principal structures, 2 campus signs, and 3 certification of site approvals. It was the 2017 activity.
Okay. Strategic plan or goals for 2018. The only thing I can think of is serve the public. I mean, that's.
I just said see
I
comprehensive
think
plan. on it.
Continue performing our duties as assigned.
Yeah, and according to law.
Those aren't really
How could the
goals.
city help the board accomplish its goals? Well, whatever you all think.
That's one of those questions.
I think the
Okay.
survey was designed in mind, with other boards in mind. We are a fairly straightforward and regulated board.
Yes.
Our operations and procedures are very, set out in statutes and ordinances. So
I agree.
some of these we can probably just say, carry out our duties as assigned in the ordinance.
I do think that the most important thing that we should suggest, though, is we should talk about the training for new board members. Okay. Anyone else have any comments regarding this?
So we're going to have a review of it next meeting, is that correct, Josh?
This part about the introductory part of the ordinance, I'll have that in your packets for the next meeting as well.
Okay, if there is no other business, we stand adjourned.
Joe, hey Joe, where are you taking us to supper?
Sure.